want to begin by thanking Morung Express and Sinai Ministry for putting together this panel and discourse opportunity platform for all of us. It's interesting listening to my two respected panelists, co-panelists. We have not compared notes, but we seem to be coming in from very interesting perspectives. And so, my presentation will appear as a single side footnote. Let me read a scripture text. Of course, I won't start preaching, but allow me. The text is from Isaiah chapter 59, verse 14. Isaiah chapter 59, verse 14. Justice is turned back, and righteousness stands at a distance. For truth stumbles in the public square, and uprightness cannot enter. Truth is nothing, and whoever turns away from evil is condemned. The topic for our discourse this afternoon invokes, at least for me, three layers of meaning. And the first one would be actually to ask, what is the kind of future that Naga people want to build? What is the society that we aspire? It is on that basis, in light of the future that we want to build, we talk about the leaders that we need. The second meaning for me is the topic is indicative of actually a lack of role models. There is a crisis of leadership. It is indicative of a crisis that we are facing today. Of course, from a pragmatic point of view, the third layer has to do with the elections that are around the corner, hopefully. And so the question for us, for the audience here, is what kind of leaders should we support, vote for? I'm grateful to our first speaker who has nicely spelled out the values of leadership. And I make to believe that those of us who are gathered here are actually people who are committed to a leadership that works for change. So, I'm going to speak on the topic only from the perspective of strategy and intervention. So, my purpose is not to rehearse theories about leadership or getting into analysis of what's really happening, but more in terms of so what can we do here collectively, people gathered here, in terms of trying to talk around, finding meaning around questions of leadership. My submission, first of all, is to say that in order to understand who a public leader is, we need to start with the acknowledgement that there is indeed a crisis. There are a lot of opportunities around us, there are a lot of positive energies and creative initiatives taking place, but there is indeed a crisis. Crisis in terms of our institutions, the state machinery, our groups, our communities, our tribes, and individuals. And this crisis, all of us know, is part of the change, the tumultuous change that we are going through as a people, as we seek to nurture our peoplehood as we seek to grow and understand each other. The change that we are experiencing, of course, is internally driven as well as externally driven. And the crisis of leadership that we see today has to be positioned in the context of the larger changes that we're experiencing as a people, as a society. And therefore, if one were to say that we lack people, leaders who guide us, who can deliver leadership with integrity, I would say that the crisis of leadership today is actually more symptomatic. It's a symptom, reflection of a larger crisis that we're undergoing. Second, to understand who a public leader is, we need to get into analysis. As our first speaker mentioned, analysis of facts, data. And by that we mean, unless we seek to understand where our society is today, what kind of leaders we have today, we will not be able to arrive at the kind of leader that we desire, seek to build. I have two practical responses to the topic. Building of leadership. A long-term approach to building of public leadership would mean, based on the analysis of our current situation, based on the society and the future that we desire, we aspire to nurture, we must create a movement of awareness and education in schools, in the colleges, in the families, and in the churches. That is a long-term approach. But a more immediate approach to building right public leadership in all areas, aspects of life would be to ask, given the current Naga situation, what kind of leaders do we need? What kind of leaders do we desire? And I would say that we need leaders who possess moral integrity. People who have a track record of delivering. And this has been expounded very well by our first speaker as well as our second speaker. We need today, at this point, leaders who can articulate the multiple life worlds of our Naga people, the multiple lived world of the Naga populace. We also need Naga leaders who, while affirming the unique identity of every community, village, or tribe, rally people toward a transcending narrative, allowing people to come together to work for a common good. Finally, I would also like to submit that we need leaders who have the commitment to mentor and work as a team. That is in terms of immediate leadership intervention. But I would also like to submit that it is important to redefine today the notion of leadership that we have. Today, leaders, as we know, especially speaking in terms of politics, who are the leaders? The leaders are those who have money, social power, social and economic capital. But we need to take a U-turn and reroute leadership that emerges from the consent of the community. Community, people, and collectives should define the vision and spirit of leadership. We somehow, for some reason, in the Naga context, have vested our leaders, especially public leaders, the so-called public leaders, with too much power. They have become just too powerful that they have started to play with our dreams. They make us cry. They play with our fears and emotions. I have had young people saying, in PLC, competitive exams, no, I don't want. I don't trust the system. So, I want to submit that we don't have the luxury of just waiting upon leaders to deliver. It is time for us to lead. We must belong to a movement, a generation of people who collectively will themselves to lead. Without sacrifice, that's not possible. We need a movement, a generation that is selfless, that can sacrifice and build solidarity across tribes, villages, colonies, and houses. Way back in 2005, it was Mandela who echoed. Mandela echoed a sentence in Trafalgar Square in London saying, sometimes it falls upon a generation to be great. And you and I can be that generation. So along with, as I have been sharing, we need immediate intervention in terms of supporting candidates who have the right values, but at the same time, along with that, we must together create a movement collectively to enable leaders who can lead us with a new vision. We must nurture commitment together. We must nurture our convictions together. We must risk. We must develop passions, and we must take on the journey together. Not online. I keep saying online revolution is there. Online revolution has happened among the Nagas, but revolution online on social media has to embody in terms of concrete faces, bodies, coming together in spaces that allow listening and co-learning. So, how do we nurture a movement that builds leadership that can transform in a context of mistrust, fear, and suspicion? Suspicion, enmity everywhere. For that, we need spaces, safe spaces of healing. And that space is what we're experiencing here, a space where we can come together to listen to each other, to give positive vibes, to empower each other. And that is what Morung Lecture and the Sinai Ministry together today has achieved. They will continue to do that, and all of us, I pray, will continue to be part of a team, a journey that will work toward leadership starting from our own personal lives and our own conduct through our relationships that embody transformational leadership.